Hi friends, Zine here with Psp Gaming. It's going to be a fun episode. I'm going to go see a good friend of mine across town, Steve Baker, who's been a huge help with my Xbox collection and helping me with my modded Xbox. I'm actually
use the right lane to turn left onto Elkhorn Boulevard.
Going to his house now.
Right 2 lanes.
He's been working on his game collection and wants to show me his new game collection. He's got a good hardware collection too, of like every variation of Xbox 360, and he's always comes up to my house and makes a journey up here, and I figured the least I could do is head down there, so I thought I'd film his collection, and then, you know, us talking about games and what have you, be something fun. I've been trying to get over to see him for the longest time. It just never happens.
I-80 West ramp.
I got my GPS thing on here. Finally getting up advanced to where I'm using GPS instead of maps to find stuff.
West.
Let's get around the slipstream, around the traffic here.
Continue on I-80 West for 15 miles.
It'll be a fun trip. I've been looking forward to this for some time. It just never happens, so I finally sent him a text the other night and said, dude, what are you doing this weekend? So kind of an overdue visit. So we're going to try it out and see what happens. And been looking forward to seeing his house and, you know, his collection and hanging out. So I got about a good half hour drive or so down there. And it'll be a fun drive. Thought I'd take the car out today to put some miles on it, keep the battery charged up. So I'll see you soon. I'm going to be there in a little bit, and we'll start just kind of, nothing's really planned. We're just going to see what happens and kind of film his collection, which I'm excited about. So hope you enjoy it.
Use the right lane to merge onto I-80 Business Loop East, US 50 East. Use the right lane to merge onto I-80 Business Loop East, US 50 East. Then use the right lane to take exit 1. Use the right lane to take exit 1, then keep right at the fork. Keep right at the fork.
All right, Steve, go ahead and show me your killer collection.
Okay, well, it's actually the first time I guess this would be on camera. I think I've only ever taken pictures of it before, but so I really like the Xbox 360, as you can probably tell. I basically have every retail variant, with the exception of 2, and only because they're not really something that I would absolutely need to have. I think the problem with it is, so like you've got your regular Pro, your Elite, the Halo 3, Resident Evil 5, Modern Warfare 2. Then you got there was 2 versions of the arcade. One was called the Core, the other one was the arcade. The main difference was the first Core did not have HDMI, but the second release did. So then you got your Slims. The first Slim that came out was the original black and chrome accent one, and then they started bringing out these themed units with Halo Reach, Gears of War, Halo 4, Star Wars. Most everybody loves the Star Wars one. They also had a Slim in white, which was a Kinect sports bundle. And then they brought out the E models. You had your first E model, which was just your standard matte and gloss black. Then you had the special edition Call of Duty one.
I like the blue one. It's nice, yeah.
So, nice. As for the other 2 retail variants, one of them was a Splinter Cell. And the thing about the Splinter Cell model was it was basically the same as an Elite, but just in a Splinter Cell box. The other one was Final Fantasy 13. Now, there was a big kind of missed opportunity with both of these, to be honest, because what they did with the Final Fantasy 13 was, it was, again, they kind of cheaped out on it. It was your standard Pro, but with a Final Fantasy 13 hard drive. So this actually says Final Fantasy 13 on it.
I never noticed that. Wow,
So-
that's cool.
And then there was also a Final Fantasy 13 faceplate, but it wasn't really part of the package. So this was available by itself. I don't know. I can't remember if it was a promo item or something of that nature, but it really was kind of like a missed opportunity for them to really make a proper themed system. I mean, if Halo 3 could get a themed system and Modern Warfare 2, why couldn't they have done the same with Final Fantasy 13?
Yeah, you'd think so, being such a popular game.
Yeah, so, but then, aside from those, I've got my top section of Sega here with the JVC XI,
Oh yeah, those are cool.
Black Dreamcast, the Sports Edition, the Nomad. This is a Model 1 Sega Saturn here. This was my first original Sega Saturn from 1995. I remember buying that, and then when it came out, when they made the big announcement at, I guess, I can't remember if that was E3. I don't think E3 existed just yet, or maybe it was E3, but yeah, they said the price, and I went out to Electronic Boutique and bought it. You got your Model 2 Genesis and Sega CD 32X,
Very cool.
little Genesis 3 there. My very first Model 1 Sega CD and Genesis. I did a cartridge mod on this. It used to be that the way that they designed these was the cartridges were keyed so that you couldn't fit a Japanese game in it. So when this game came out, this wasn't supposed to come to America. Sunsoft was in litigation with Nintendo over the right to make games on competing platforms. Nintendo at the time had a lockout in America and said, look, if you guys are going to make a game for us, you can't make it for any other system in America. I think Sunsoft and a couple other companies, they sued Nintendo for the right. So before that happened, I imported this. I think I paid like $100 for it because I really wanted to play this game. So, but in order for me to play it, I had to mod, because look at the shape of the cartridge. I had to mod the cartridge port so that I could, basically I just filed down the inside edges here to allow the game to fit.
Oh, that's cool.
And then about 2 months after the announcement, they localized it and they brought it out here in America. So anyways, I keep this around for nostalgia purposes.
Oh, that's great.
But then I've got a 3DO FZ10. This is a Duo RX. I used to have a regular Turbo Duo, but it started developing some problems. So I knew that the Duo R and the Duo RX didn't have the same kind of problems with leaking capacitors. So I made a deal with a buddy of mine who's local, and I gave him my CDX. As you can see, I don't have a CDX here. I traded him my CDX for his Duo RX, and I've been happy ever since. Good old HD DVD drive for Xbox 360. And the GameCubes, this one, and this one are all the original ones. You got your Indigo, your Black, and your Platinum. This is the second release Platinum that doesn't have the digital AV port on it.
Oh yeah, I need to get one of those digital AV ports.
When I want to, like, if my kids want to play GameCube, this is the one I'll give them because it's basically the stripped down model. So, but all these other ones are all the originals.
Oh, cool.
Wii Mini, and 3DO FZ1.
Yeah, that's a model I want.
That's a good one. This one,
my favorite.
my original that I had for a number of years, sometimes things happen. Somebody breaks into your house and steals your stuff. But I got really lucky on this one and found it at a Goodwill up in Auburn for $15, and it still worked. And the game Battle Chess was in the drive, so I figured that, hey, that's a great bonus. The original PlayStation, which surprisingly enough, I actually have 4 different variants of the PlayStation hardware. This is an original.
As they evolve, they changed over the years.
So
I've got a couple of them too.
This one is the what they call the audiophile edition, because it has the direct RCA ports on it. Then as they started making changes to it, they removed those. Then you would have the ones that had the serial port or the parallel port removed, so you couldn't plug in like your action replays and stuff like that. So, and then ultimately it came down to the little portable PS1.
Oh, I love that with the screen. Yeah, it's awesome.
But then I've got your slim PS2s, which this is the first edition slim. This is the second edition slim, because you can tell by the venting on it. The second edition, they put the power supply inside, so they finally got it down to where they didn't need that brick. So
interesting.
The black one, which my son has in his room because he wanted to be able to play some PlayStation 2 games, so I gave him that one for the time being. Got your red Wii, your black Wii.
Yeah, those are nice.
My original white Wii is downstairs plugged into another TV. That one I modded with the letter bomb hack, so that I can play. I think I loaded up the full ROM set for TurboGrafx, Genesis, Nintendo, Super Nintendo. As you can probably tell, aside from the actual hardware, I don't have any of those cartridge games anymore. I've basically divested myself of the cartridge games themselves, and I'm strictly using disc. And some people may ask, why would you do that? What about things such as disc rot and so forth? Well, I prefer the discs to the cartridge, and I know that's really weird, especially for my age, because I grew up in the age of Atari and so forth. But if I can play all of those games on an EverDrive, then that's how I do it.
Yeah,
I play it on the.
I know it's beginning to make sense to me too now.
Yeah, and the same thing with I found the Turbo EverDrive, which this came in handy because now when I got rid of my TurboGrafx collection, I gave it to a buddy of mine, and I've only got like a little 128. What is it? Oh, I've got a 1 gig micro SD card in here that holds the entire PC Engine TurboGrafx library, so you don't need anything really more than that. But the Japanese Saturn I got from a friend of mine back east.
Yeah, it's
because
beautiful.
In order for me to play one game, I had to have a Japanese Saturn. Otherwise, you could play pretty much any Saturn game on a Saturn as long as you have the right action replay cartridge. But that particular game that I wanted to play was King of Fighters 95, because this is the only game where the cartridge is actually required, because it's not your usual, it's not your typical type of RAM expansion. This is a ROM expansion cartridge. So this cartridge actually has some of the game data not on disk. So you need this cartridge in order to play. This will not play on an American Saturn unless you have it modded for imports.
Another reason
and you cannot, you can't make a copy of this and play it with an action replay on an American Saturn either. So you have to have this particular setup. So, but in doing that, I'd already had some Saturn imports, and but when the opportunity arose to get a real Japanese Saturn, I jumped at the chance. my Gene Simmons rock.
Oh, I know, I love that.
Guitar.
That's great.
So, but and then but yeah, so I've got some different import Saturn stuff. I play a lot of import games. I've got some import PlayStation games. I've got only maybe one PS2 import that I really, really wanted to play, and that's this one right here, Thunder Force 6.
Oh yeah.
So what I what I ended up doing was I took one of my fat PS2s, this little guy right here, and I took the cover off. Took the little front door off so that I could use the swap magic trick. I guess that you can use a. I think there's a way to use free MC boot on a PS2 to play imports. I've never really since I already had a system that I could do that with. I didn't see any reason to try and dive into it any further. Aside from consoles, I'm really into controllers. So I've got my stack of controllers. I mean, I've got 360 controllers. I've got like
Crazy.
I've got every 360 controller variant.
Oh my God.
That was released. There's one in particular that I really, really want. And let's see, these are some other controllers, some Dreamcast, my little converter so I can play PlayStation controllers on Xbox, PC, GameCube. It looks like a little Xbox. That's what I like about it.
That's a great deal. Yeah.
Got some more. I'm a Dallas Cowboys fan. Don't hold that against me. But the one controller that I would love to have, got more 360, more Xbox. I've got the Chrome controllers. I've got all the Chrome controllers.
I've got one of those, a gold one, yeah.
So, but the one that I really want to get was only available in Europe. It was a green controller, which I guess it was a missed opportunity for Microsoft to bring it out here, but it was available with, I think FIFA was the game. And I've seen them go on eBay for $30-35 I think it is. So one of these days I'm going to break down and import one. But I've got some of my modded systems that I actually play on. I've got my modded PlayStation. I can play imports and backups.
Oh, cool.
I've got a modded Model 2 Saturn there that can play imports and backups. And I've got my modded Xbox, which that has a 320 gig hard drive in it right now.
Wow.
So, and I basically played the different arcade games like the MAME packs. I think Coin-Ops is what it's called. So, and then I've got good old Master Chief and Hellgas helmets there.
I love the Hellgas one. That's awesome. I've never seen one of those in person before.
Yeah, that was actually a flea market find, I think for like $10.
Oh my God.
And but it originally it came with, I think it was Killzone 3?
3 or 2?
I think it was 3. So yeah, it was Killzone 3 because you got your art book with Killzone 3 and so forth. So I use the Killzone trilogy, so I don't actually ever really use this particular one. Yeah. So same thing with this Master Chief helmet. I don't really use the game that's in it, but I keep it all like it was. Kind of wish I had the box for it, but that's okay. Somebody might ask, what's this underneath? Surprisingly enough, this is what I used in order to play my retro systems, like the Turbo Duo RX, Genesis. I even got a Super Nintendo in the closet there. But I can plug into this, and it takes the composite connection as well as S-video, and it converts it to component.
Oh, that's a great idea. I never thought of something.
It does the same thing as what those
pound cables, or
well, those can do like more into HDMI, but it does the conversion into component. And then my TV, I play in the proper aspect ratio, which whenever you see somebody that plays a retro system on a modern TV, it's always stretched because
I go into the TV settings and just change it to 4.3 aspect ratio.
And usually that's just a personal preference because you have some people that they don't like the bars on the side. Well, I don't mind that. I mean, it's 42-inch TV, so I can handle the bars on the side, and it actually ends up looking pretty good.
Yeah, it's a good sized TV for this room. I love these old Samsungs.
But I've got a modded PS2. It's got the FreeMic boot. I can't remember if I put if it's a 120 or 160 gig hard drive in there, but I basically use it for ripping the games to the hard drive.
Oh, that's
so that I don't have to worry about playing them off the disc. You got your regular. That was an 80 gig MotorStorm edition PS3, so it still supports PlayStation 2 games.
Yep.
Even though
It's in good shape too.
Yeah. Even though I think at some point there was a firmware update that was said to where it was supposed to make it not play PS2 games, but it still does. So then I got my Xbox One and this little device here on the side. That's a hard drive. It's a media expansion, and there's a hard drive inside of it.
Interesting.
So I've got the stock 500 gig hard drive in the system, and there's an additional 750 gig hard drive on the side.
Oh wow, that's great.
And I had updated the hard drive in my...
I've never seen those before.
Yeah, and I updated the hard drive in my PS3 from the 80 gig when I first got it to, I believe it has a 500 gig hard drive in it now. I probably put in something larger. PS4 is in another room. I took out the stock 500 gig hard drive on it, and I think I put in a 1 terabyte. But that was actually a hell of a deal, that PS4. It was just after the Pro had released, and I saw a guy who was living in Davis. He posted on Craigslist, and he says, "I got a PS4 for $100," and nobody responded to him beforehand. So I reached out to him, and he says, "Yeah, I still got it." So one Sunday morning, I got up at like 8 o'clock, and I drove all the way out to Davis. Sure enough, $100.
Wow.
For PS4,
Scored.
and it was a solid deal. It works great. So.
That's a great deal for a PS4. Those are little GameCube cases. I love those. Those are great.
Yeah, and I've got these are all the like Dreamcast demo discs, original Xbox demo discs.
Oh yeah, those are great.
This was kind of a neat thing. It's a travel case for
that's
games.
great.
Yeah,
I've never
you
seen
put
one of those
games
before.
in here,
Right.
and it also holds your controller. So when I initially wanted it because it came with the Halo 3 ODST controller, and I already had the Halo 3 controller, so I figured, hey, it just kind of fits best in the set. I got to replace the sticks on these, but otherwise, I thought it was a great little carrying case. And it's not too common. I don't see too many people that.
No, I don't either. I've never
have this.
seen them before.
And then I got this particular shelf here is all PlayStation 3 and PlayStation 4 Steelbooks, PS3 games. I got my PS4 games, Xbox One games, and Steelbooks for 360, Wii, and I got PS2 Steelbooks over on another shelf, but yeah, these three on the top kind of, there's an interesting story behind these ones. So, like this Gears of War 2 and this Halo 2, these were the original store display cases. So, when you would, before these particular games came out, you would take this to the counter if you wanted to pre-order the game. So when the actual retail packaging came out,
Oh yeah, I've
it's
seen those at
different.
GameStop. Yeah.
It's different than what you see here. So here's the retail Gears of War 2. So its steelbook basically looks like that.
Oh yeah.
So, and you can see it's for display only, and the same thing with the Halo 2. The look of it is different than what you actually got at retail. And the one in the middle is Steelbook Steve. That's a nickname that our buddy Chance gave me, and he decided to kind of make. He took a regular, one of the original Xbox Steelbooks and printed out this cover and made it look distressed and
clever,
sent it to me as a gift. So that's kind of
nice.
cool. I like that. And there's some of the big box sets here.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you showed me that Assassin's Creed one, the Batman Boomerang, Arkham Asylum, Soul Calibur, Guilty Gear. Yeah, nice. You got the Wolfenstein Collector's Edition like I've got for the PS4. There's your the Fallout New Vegas. Nice. Ninja Gaiden 3, Tron Evolution, Halo Reach, Dead or Alive 5, and Fable 3. Soul Calibur 5. Nice.
Yeah, and
Dead Rising 2.
this is actually kind of a cool one. So I didn't know about this one until after I had gotten this one, because basically, so Fallout New Vegas Collector's Edition it comes with I think it comes with some poker chips.
Oh yeah.
But then I noticed that somebody said, "Oh, you ought to check out Dead Rising High Stakes Edition because it also is a poker set, and it's not just comes with poker chips. It's a full poker set.
Oh wow.
There's an actual
give them the Vegas theme of it. Yeah.
yeah. So I mean, it's
Oh, that's great.
it's
Never seen one of
pretty
these.
interesting. So, but it came with your copy of the game. Came with like a little tourist fold out piece there.
That's great.
But and never been used, but each
That's a great poker set. Makes me want to sit down and play poker.
I like the dealer chips.
Yeah.
They got the blood on them. It's got all the different dice in here. So I mean, it was a really nice set, and it's
cool.
kind of one of those collector's editions that hardly anybody ever really talks about because either
the first time
it
I've
was
seen
very
one in person.
uncommon, and so when I saw it, I was like, oh, I gotta have it. It's just too cool. So
Excellent.
you got some 360 games kind of tucked back here on the bottom. Now the whole bottom row pretty much
All your
is all my
Xbox
original
games.
Xbox games. They're not in any particular order, and I know.
Yeah, that's kind of how mine are too. They're the same way.
Well, I know that there's some people that are very, much more organized, and they'll do everything either in alphabetical.
I like it by
or-
genre. I keep all my
Yeah.
racing games together and my 007 games together and my 12 Star Wars games together. That kind of thing.
Yeah, they'll do it as like
FPS games, that
like
kind
that.
of deal.
Put them in some kind of organized system. For me, it was just a matter of, well, let's just put this here. Some of them there are next to other ones that are kind of in order.
Yeah.
Like I think I have Unreal. Was it Unreal Championship and then Unreal Championship 2?
Yeah,
I
you've got
think
some
it is.
great games here. Jeez. Then you're getting into your PS2 games. You scroll through these. Yeah, I got some good ones too. Air Force Delta Strike. I just recently got that one. First Killzone. Nice. Raiden 3. Yeah, I like these Midway Treasures. I got those for the Xbox. Title Legends. That's a good one. Ace Combat 4. I just got the 2 Ace Combat games recently.
There is. Find it.
Let me get back to.
Oh, here it is. So you saw Title Legends on Xbox,
Oh yeah.
and Title Legends.
I don't think I have that one. I think I'm missing that one.
This one is a European edition only,
Oh.
but it plays. It's region free, so it plays
Oh.
in
You don't need a
American
modded
Xbox.
Xbox then.
So
That's good.
the funny thing about this one is, while here in the U.S. we got Title Legends 1 and 2 on PlayStation 2, we only got Title Legends 1 on Xbox, and it's like I don't understand why they would make these decisions to omit certain games in a series.
It doesn't make sense. I know. Makes you wonder what
it
they're
just
thinking.
doesn't make any sense, because I mean this is it's just as fun a game to have.
They're spanning these PS2 games. Time Splitters. Yeah, some good ones. Excellent. And then you get all your more 360
Yeah, I got
games.
more 360 games. I got more 360 and
Oh, Steel
Xbox Steelbooks, PlayStation 2s. So,
Nice.
like this one here was only available in Europe. Unreal Championship 2 in the Steelbook. So, I don't necessarily play it. I bought it because it was a Steelbook. So, but I already have the game. I already have the American version of the game, so I don't need to worry about it.
What are these purple cases?
These are Kinect.
Oh yeah, that's right.
But I don't buy just like any Kinect games. I buy the ones that I think are going to be fun. Like I know Rise of Nightmares is actually not that bad of a game. The Gunstringer's pretty fun. Joyride, Harry Potter.
The Gunstring, I remember when that came
Star
out. That
Wars.
is a good one. Yeah.
You know, the funny thing, this game gets a lot of shit because of the whole dance scene where you're like either Princess Leia or whatever. Okay, if you can get past that, the other part of it is really fun.
Oh,
the
cool.
pod racing is it does okay when you're the Rancor, just tearing through things. It's actually not bad.
Sounds cool.
But I know the
Star
whole
Wars.
dancing part is like it really throws.
Yeah, that's
people
what
off.
everyone's focused on. And what you get here, oh, these are your PSP games and your Vitas. Yeah. Yeah, I never got into the handheld things. I was tempted to just get a couple games, but
Well, it's like the best PSP that I like using is actually the PSP Go, which is kind of funny if you think about it. I've got the model 1000, the 2000, and the 3000, but the Go is the one that I really like because it's the only one that you can not only dock to a TV, but use an actual controller with. Because if you try to use the 2000 or the 3000, you can plug them into the TV just fine, but the unit itself is still the controller.
yes.
So at least with a PSP Go, you've got this little dock, just pop it on there, pick up a 6-axis controller, and away you go.
I like the 6-axis controller. It gets a lot of shit and reviews and things.
Yeah, it's very lightweight.
But I like
them.
them. In Killzone 2, I like using it to
Yeah.
set the bombs and the columns, and I mean, it works. I mean, it's a fun, interactive thing. It's one of the few motion control gimmicks that I actually like.
Yeah. One thing I like to do is
Dreamcast games up the ass.
I know there's a lot of completionist isn't the word I want to use. A lot of gamers that like to have their games complete or as complete as possible. So some of these PlayStation games, like if I find a really good deal on one that's loose, and I'll make my own case for it. I mean, it's not that difficult.
I did that with what's it called? That Xbox 360 game.
I use actual PlayStation cases because I figure it's a PlayStation game, even though it's a PS2 case.
Yeah.
It will serve the purpose just fine. So, and when I print them out, I print them out on good quality paper. So, and they when stacked next to a PS2 game, the only way that you can tell the difference is just by looking at the name.
Exactly.
So, otherwise they would fit in just fine.
I love all these PlayStation 1 games. They're awesome.
And 3DO games. I'm not a. This is really kind of 3DO is the kind of platform that I really am rather picky about. While I like,
Oh, here's your 3DO games over here.
yeah, those were loose. That there's the battle chest that came with the 3DO itself. I like to make my own cases for certain games, but with 3DO is I had some that were in the original long box, and the thing about the 3DO is their long boxes are just insanely tall. So I never really cared for them, but I noticed that throughout the 3DO lifetime, they started making games in jewel cases in the tall boxes, but the jewel cases would be more appropriate for what I really like. And so you've got your like icebreaker. I mean, it's got a manual, it's got a back, and it just fits better.
Yeah, no, I did the same thing. I took all my tall boxes and threw them in the trash and cut the covers off the manuals and made my own jewel cases, so that way all my late 90s, PS1 games that all match in my CD rack, that way I could put them all in the same rack.
Another thing that kind of drove me nuts is how there were some games that were released in jewel cases over in Europe, but not here. Or like same thing within Japan. Like this is a Japanese 3DO game, and the 3DO has no region protection, so
Interesting.
imports play on it just fine. This is Yu Hakusho, I think is what it is.
Cool.
It's a fighting game, a little anime fighting game. But like this game here, Samurai Showdown, this was in a long box, but over in Europe, they got it in a jewel case. So I printed out my own back insert, because as you can see here, it says PAL system, but the game itself it's the regular, Samurai Showdown.
Oh, yeah.
So I got a thing. I don't like the tall box for the 3DO games, but if there's no other way than to get it that way,
Now I
then,
regret getting rid of those, and I want to get all the tall boxes.
well, like here's one that I did another one. So
Oh, I love that
Wing
one.
Commander 3.
Wing Commander 3. I'm trying to get that in for the PlayStation.
So this was originally in two separate jewel cases. So what I did was I took a double jewel case.
It's a great idea, yeah.
And I combined them
Yeah,
because
I like that.
the inserts they all seem to
It all fits
face the right direction, so it works fine. So I did the same thing with Shockwave 2. So
Excellent. Yeah, these are some great games here.
I'm a big pinball fan, so I
Yeah,
try to keep
I
all
like
my
them too.
pinball games together.
Dreamcast games. There's all your Wii games. I have a few Wii games, just a couple, not too many.
I mean, there's some
Bad
good
World's a
games
good
in
one.
there. There's a lot of bad ones. Same thing with the Wii U.
Zombie U is the reason why I almost bought one for Zombie U. Now you can get it off the PlayStation Store for the PS4, but then they had it packaged with another game where you're forced to buy another game. I didn't really want to get Zombie U, so you ever got Ace Combat 6? Yeah, I want to get this one next. It's one of the last few Xbox 360 games looking for, and I've got PopCap, I think. Do I have one? And I need to get two. That's coming in my next bundle. Or no, I have two, but I'm missing one. That's it. Yeah, and I've got this Cube coming, or I just got that one. Yep, cool.
And unfortunately, with the way the shelf sits, some of these.
What are these?
kinda-
Oh, GameCube games?
These are the greatest hits GameCube games. So they just I kind of keep the greatest hits ones a little bit more together. Like in my PlayStation games, you probably saw
Rebel
the section
Strike,
was all
yeah.
green, and then
Resident Evil, it's a nice one, yeah.
yeah,
Very cool.
and these are just a little overflow of
Oh,
360 games, ones that just
Oh, you got the grid games, cool.
yeah, those are good. That based on your suggestion.
Yeah, get that Grid Motorsport is the last good one. That has a lot of like Indy cars, and they brought in more of like, real sim type motorsport racing.
These ones here, these gold cases, these are Nuon games. And the Nuon was a system that a lot of people consider it the successor to the Atari Jaguar, because it's
Interesting.
kind of built along the same premise. The chipset that went into the Nuon was kind of an extension to what went into the Atari Jaguar. Toshiba, I think Samsung, and I can't remember who the other one was. They were the ones that basically made the players. And what a Nuon player is it looks like a regular DVD player, but it has a controller port built into the front of it. So it's kind of very misleading because it looks so generic. It just looks like your regular everyday DVD player. So if you're out and about at a thrift store like Goodwill or something, check the electronics sections because you may actually find a Nuon player. The Toshiba model, which is very common, is the SD2300, and it's a pretty cool player. You can use either the remote, or there's a controller for it. I've got a controller here. Let me see if I can dig it out. They kind of modeled this particular one after the Nintendo 64.
Oh, that's cool.
But this is a Nuon controller. It's got its own dedicated port, so it's not your standard USB mini
type deal.
So,
right.
but I mean, it works pretty good. It's even got the little trigger down there. Doesn't support any rumble packs or anything because this was just made by a third party. But surprisingly, the obscurity of the Nuon system has made it rather costly. One game in particular that I really want to get is Space Invaders XL, and that one is going for like triple digits. And it's a failed system, but for some reason there's still a collector's market out there for them. So like with these particular ones here, I was lucky enough to get them fairly cheap. You know, you got your Merlin Racing, Tempest 3000, and Ballistic. There's I think the Nuon library only had like 6 games. So it's attainable, but it's expensive. And
Cool.
Saturn.
Oh yeah, your Saturn.
Saturn and
Jeez,
Sega
I almost
CD
forgot.
stuff.
Yeah, these are a small fortune today to buy all these games. Yeah, you've got an excellent Saturn collection.
Yeah, there's a lot of the Saturn versions of games that were also available on the PlayStation. They play better on Saturn.
That's what I've
the
heard. That's
exception-
what I've heard.
With the exception of one.
What's
Well,
that?
at least that I have in my collection. And that's the game In the Hunt. So
Oh yeah, that's one of my,
In
that's
the
my
Hunt.
holy grail. I want to get that. one.
so I've got the Saturn and the PlayStation version. This one actually plays better. The Saturn version has better looking sprites, but the slowdown is really atrocious on
Frame
that.
rate,
On
yeah.
this one here, at least they kind of alleviated. So it may not have the best.
I love these
looks,
tall boxes. These are kind of my
Yeah. This
my
one
thing right
is
now.
actually slipcover.
Yeah, I want to get that wipeout box.
So-
I like that. That's very cool.
I didn't even know there was a slipcover for
No, I
this.
didn't either. I've seen the silver one. Which one is this one? Oh, Street Fighter. Wow, that's a nice one. I don't have some of these. Cyber Speed I don't have. Primal Rage, I bought this. I had this exact same box. Wow. That brings back, man, it's one of my favorite games. My God, I love this game so much. There's so many versions of it.
Yeah, I used to have the Jaguar CD edition. Finally, I
Soma,
sold off the
interesting.
Jaguar
I've
and
seen
the
that.
Jaguar CD games. But I
Jupiter
like Primal
Strike,
Rage.
nice.
I mean, I got Primal Rage on the 3DO.
Oh,
Primal
yeah.
Rage on the Saturn.
Yep.
And Primal Rage on PS1.
I've got Destruction
Yeah, I even
Derby,
got-
tall box. It's interesting just with the variations of the tall boxes. Some of
Yeah.
them actually had the real ribbed little edge, and then they started imprinting it to look like it. I remember that.
So you've got the ones that have that look like cardboard, ones that actually have the ridge.
Yeah, I like this.
Well,
The actual
in the
3D
Saturn
thing.
world, they kind of had the same thing, but only
Plastic jewel case,
Yeah,
yeah.
only in
Off-road
certain cases,
screen,
so-
that's interesting. I've never played that one.
let me see which. Let's go back to Attack.
God, I love these tall boxes. They're so cool. I got some of these coming. Warhawk. I've got. I just recently got Warhawk. Which one is this one?
Oh, here we go.
Mortal Kombat. Tekken. Cool.
Oh.
Raiden Project. That's such a great
Here's
game.
here's a good example. So, when you look at Saturn games,
Mm-hmm.
they all have that particular type of
Yes.
insert on it.
Mm-hmm.
So, Acclaim, for some of their games, not all of their games, they had a slightly different type of insert where it wasn't the usual plastic. It was like a cheap, flimsy tray. So it's very strange how Acclaim did this, and it was only Acclaim. I think some of the games that came like this, Mortal Kombat 2, Galactic Attack, I think even there's a couple more I can't think of off the top of my head, but it was really strange because other Acclaim games didn't have this type of insert. They had the regular. So it was just, I guess they were just being cheap that day.
Yeah, I've got this Total Eclipse coming. That's in my next shipment of games. That's a good one. Tall box of that I got coming. What's this one? Oh, Air Combat. Yep, that's a good one.
The only thing I don't like about some of the long boxes when the glue.
Yeah, that happened with my Return Fire, the glue. I got some double stick 3M real thin tape and used that and it seemed to fix it.
So, but yeah, I gotta fix this one. It's,
8 point.
I had no room on the shelf there, so I had to put him over here. He's been ostracized.
Cyber Sled, wow, I've never played that. That's another one I'd like to try out. Yeah, I love these tall boxes. They're so cool. So nice.
The genres that I primarily like to play are spaceship shooters, racing games. I love racing games.
Yeah, I do too.
Not just your typical racing games, like Forza, which is more simulation versus say Grid.
Yeah, you got all the special box sets of these. I love. This is my holy grail. Is Forza 2 is my favorite. I'm debating whether to get the Forza 3, just the regular game. Which one's this for?
Yeah, that's Forza.
That's nice.
That
Yeah, I
comes
like
with
that
the
box.
steelbook inside the box.
Very cool. Yeah, that's,
Yeah,
those are good.
The
collector's
Forza
editions.
2, they did a.
That's my
I mean,
favorite of all of them.
they used a carbon fiber.
I know, I love that. I love the look of the Forza.
you got
2.
it. You
It's
got
just very
your-
colorful,
your
and even the
book.
menus in the game itself. You have the orange and the gray is very handsome.
So, but I like that this is basically was just a cardboard box that they did a carbon fiber wrap around it, and they
cool.
released it as a special edition.
Yeah, that's going to be one of the only collector editions that I want. Is at Forza 2. That's a good one. Gears of War.
It's kind of funny. Some of these were just not as widely distributed in certain areas. Like, I guess here in California, we didn't get a whole lot of the special editions for Forza. This Mass Effect, I had to go on eBay to try and track it down because I couldn't find it locally. You know, and all it is, it's just your basic metal box with the game and some extra stuff in
yeah.
it. But it was...
Yeah, they're nice. I can
pretty
see why
costly.
people go after the steel cases. They are handsome. Yeah, nice collectibles.
But aside from your typical, regular, realistic racing and driving simulators, I especially love futuristic racers, like Wipeout,
Oh, I do too. Yeah.
Extreme G Racing, what is it? Quantum Redshift on the original Xbox. That's a great game.
I think I just got that. Yeah, I
That
just
was
recently
made-
got that one.
That was made by the same team, or
It
some of
did
the same
Wipeout.
team that did Wipeout. So I mean, it's a really good game. It's really well made. I like the water effects, like when you're racing through and you splash through a puddle, it gets all over the screen. And the
Hydro Thunder I've got for the Xbox
Yeah.
360 off Xbox Live Arcade. That's
yeah,
a
the
favorite.
faster you go, the streaks the bubbles make across the screen. So
Well, wow, Steve, what a great collection. I'm really happy that I came by and actually had a look at these. I keep seeing pictures when I was part of those Facebook groups, and it was just nice to kind of see it all together, you know,
yeah,
and see the whole room, you know. It's
It didn't look
handsome
like
room.
this until just recently. I mean, these Xboxes were laying all over the floor here because I didn't really know where to put them. And rather than go out and buy shelves, I thought, well, wait a minute, I've got these media shelves. They're got the right depth. I can just stack the stuff on top of there, and then other stuff. Yeah. When I took my son to the shooting range, that was the target that he
That's
chose.
great.
So, but
Tomb Raider. Very cool. Well, thank you, Steve. It was great meeting with you. Oh, this is you said it was a Guitar Hero case or Rockstar?
Yeah, Rock Band.
Rock
This is
Band.
the,
Yeah. Rock Band case.
the Rock Band Ottoman.
I only grab my
Which,
phone and glasses off here.
If I remember correctly, my wife got this for me when Rock Band was all the rage, and I think it was only available through Costco. I think it was.
Interesting. Right. Oh, sorry, that's a drink on there. Oh,
Yeah.
wow, that's great.
So it's got all the Rock Band like naming and everything. So I got the drum kit down there, guitars. So I like
Very
the
cool. Nice. It's a handsome case. Yeah.
I like the Rock Band and the Guitar Hero games.
I've never played them. Yeah, I've seen my friend that had all the same, all the kits, the drums and the guitars. And
Yeah.
he loved it.
I think the one that I'm missing is Guitar Hero 5, which Guitar Hero 5 is when they introduced, instead of a licensed guitar style, because I think the previous Guitar Hero games, they were all Gibson, whereas with Rock Band they got Fender, but Guitar Hero 5, they brought out their own guitar, which that's where this faceplate is
Oh,
for.
yeah. You said you got that in the UK?
Yeah, I had to order this off of Amazon the UK, just because one of my buddies, he picked up the PS3 Guitar Hero 5 guitar with this plate already on it. I think initially this was just a giveaway. It was a contest. Then at some point they decided to kind of package them for sale, but I never saw it at any stores. But when I saw the guitar that he had and it was attached to it, I'm like, whoa, I got to get myself one of those. So I went online, and sure enough, I had to order this from the UK. But yeah, now I just need the guitar to put it on.
Cool. All right, my friend. Well, thank you very much for the tour. I'll edit this together, and anxious to show it. This is a real collection. Mine is so meager compared to this. I mean, I have just a fraction of what you have, and I have very select, types of games, and just the Xbox and PS2 pretty much, and PS1 games. I haven't delved into any of the Sega games like I'd like to. There's Dreamcast and the Saturn and the Sega CD. There's so many great games. I'm always envious when I see in other collections, but I can always enjoy other people's collections. I just try to stick to the systems that I'm familiar with and that I know. But
well, like a lot of people ask questions like where do they go when they start out with collecting? And I just tell them, there's no collection that's too small. Play what you like. You don't have to buy everything unless you want to do that.
yes,
That's a choice that you have to make, and if you decide to commit yourself to going down that road, then be prepared, because it can be rather
people
costly.
buy a dozen Xbox games, and next thing you know, they go, "That's it. I got to get a complete North American Xbox collection." And
Yeah.
it's a very arduous task that you really need to think twice about.
It's impressive. I mean, I've seen
It is.
I've seen a couple different people.
My friend Jeremy has one, in Ohio.
I've seen a few different people that have the full Xbox set, or obviously, like someone like John Hancock who has like a full Saturn set,
Multiple full sets,
multiple
yeah.
sets, Genesis and so forth. And I think about this goes, that's great. That takes a lot of dedication. And I used to be that type of collector. I mean, what you see here is smaller than what it used to be. Like I